My name is Rachel, and for most of my marriage, I believed that keeping the peace was the same thing as protecting love. I was 36 years old, living in Columbus, Ohio, and married to my husband Daniel for almost 12 years. We didn't have a dramatic marriage. We didn't scream at each other. We didn't throw things or slam doors. Instead, we slowly disappeared from each other. If you've ever been in a relationship where silence feels heavier than arguments, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Daniel was charming in public. Friends admired him. Our neighbors thought we were the perfect couple. He remembered birthdays, helped people move, and smiled at everyone. At home, though, I always came second. Not because of another woman, because of everyone else. His parents came first. His coworkers came first. His friends came first. Even strangers seemed more important than I was. Whenever I asked for something simple an evening together, a conversation, or help around the house, he always had the same answer. Don't make everything about you. At first, I believed him. I convinced myself I was asking for too much. So I became easier. I stopped asking. I handled the bills. I planned holidays. I remembered anniversaries. I organized birthdays. I managed our savings. I kept our home running while working full-time as a marketing coordinator. From the outside, everything looked stable. Inside, I felt invisible. Then one Friday evening, Daniel walked through the front door smiling. I got promoted. I hugged him immediately. I'm so proud of you. He accepted the congratulations like they were expected. We're celebrating tomorrow. I'll make reservations, I said. He looked uncomfortable. Actually, it's just my parents, my brother, and a few people from work. I waited. And me? I finally asked. He looked surprised. I thought you'd understand. I stared at him. You didn't invite your wife? It isn't personal. I smiled politely. It feels personal. He sighed. Rachel, please don't ruin this. Those words stayed with me all night. Don't ruin this. As though my presence at my husband's celebration would somehow spoil it. The next morning, I watched him leave wearing the blue tie I'd bought him for Christmas. He never asked if I wanted breakfast. He never apologized. He simply left. I spent the day alone. For the first time in years, I didn't clean the house. I didn't answer work emails. I didn't organize next week's schedule. Instead, I sat with a notebook. At the top of the page, I wrote one question. What do I deserve? The answer didn't come immediately. For years, I'd been answering everyone else's questions. What did Daniel need? What did his family expect? What problems could I solve? I had forgotten to ask what I needed. That evening, he came home laughing. They loved the restaurant. I'm sure they did, I replied. He noticed the untouched dinner table. You didn't cook? No, why? I wasn't hungry. He shrugged and ordered takeout for himself. Not once did he ask if I was okay. That hurt more than anything. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing things I'd ignored for years. Every major family decision had been made without me. Vacations, financial investments, holiday plans. Even Daniel's career move to another department had been discussed with his parents before it was discussed with me. I wasn't his partner. I was simply expected to adapt. One afternoon, my best friend Megan invited me for coffee. You look exhausted, she said gently. I think I've been trying to earn love that should have been freely given. She didn't interrupt. She simply listened. When I finished talking, she asked one question. If nothing changes, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I couldn't answer. Because the picture terrified me. Still smiling, still apologizing, still disappearing. That night, I opened our financial records, not because I suspected cheating, because I wanted to understand our future. I discovered something unexpected. Several investment accounts, retirement contributions, a vacation fund. Almost everything listed Daniel as the only decision maker. Not illegal, but intentional. I realized something that changed me forever. The betrayal wasn't one single event. It had been happening quietly for years, piece by piece, decision by decision, conversation by conversation. The next morning, Daniel smiled, as if nothing had happened. "I need you to sign something after dinner." "What is it?" "Just paperwork." I looked at him calmly. "I'll read every page first." His smile disappeared. For the first time in 12 years, he looked nervous. Daniel stared at me for a moment before forcing a smile. "Of course," he said. "It's nothing complicated." Maybe he believed I would do what I had always done, sign whatever he placed in front of me, because I trusted him. But something inside me had changed. Not overnight. Not because of one promotion dinner. It changed because I finally realized that every time I ignored my own instincts to keep someone else comfortable, I lost a little more of myself. That evening, he placed a folder on the kitchen table. Just a few financial updates. I opened it slowly. There were several forms related to refinancing our home and moving some of our savings into new investment accounts. One signature from me would have given Daniel even more control over our shared finances. I looked up. "When were you planning to explain this?" "I was going to." "When?" He shrugged. "I didn't think the details mattered." I closed the folder. They mattered to me. For the first time in years, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse him. I simply spoke calmly. "I'm not signing anything tonight." His expression hardened. "Rachel, you're making this difficult." "No," I answered quietly. "I'm finally participating." The room became completely silent. A younger version of me would have apologized. Instead, I stood up, carried the folder into my office, and scheduled an appointment with a financial attorney for the next morning. I didn't tell Daniel. I simply went. The attorney reviewed every document carefully. Then she looked at me. "These papers aren't necessarily unfair by themselves," she explained, "but together they create a pattern where your financial protection keeps shrinking while his control keeps growing." Hearing someone else say what I had been feeling was strangely comforting. I wasn't imagining it. I wasn't too emotional. I was finally paying attention. Over the next several weeks, I quietly gathered information. I learned exactly where our money was. I opened my own savings account. I updated my resume. I met with a financial planner. For the first time in years, I was making decisions for myself. Daniel eventually noticed. "You've been distant." I smiled gently. "I've been present." He looked confused. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm paying attention to my own life now." A week later, he invited me to dinner. "I think we've been disconnected," he admitted. It was the first honest thing he had said in a long time. "I agree. I want things to go back to normal." I shook my head. "I don't." He frowned. "You don't?" "No, I want something better than normal." He didn't know how to respond. Because our old normal had worked for him. It never worked for me. The following month, we started marriage counseling, not because I wanted to save appearances, because I wanted clarity. The counselor asked each of us the same question. "What does partnership mean to you?" Daniel answered first. "Supporting each other." Then she looked at me. I took a deep breath. "Partnership means no one has to disappear for the relationship to survive." The room became very quiet. Daniel looked down at his hands. For the first time since we had met, I think he truly heard me. Counseling wasn't magical. Some conversations were uncomfortable. Some ended in silence. Some ended with tears. But they were honest. More honest than anything we had shared in years. Daniel eventually admitted something that surprised both of us. "I never thought about excluding you," he said softly. "I just assumed you would always adjust." That sentence explained 12 years of marriage. Not cruelty, not hatred, just years of thoughtless habits that slowly became emotional neglect. I answered calmly. I adjusted so often that eventually I disappeared. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Over the next several months, things changed, but not because I demanded they change. They changed because I changed. I stopped solving every problem before he noticed it. I stopped apologizing for having opinions. I stopped saying it's fine when it wasn't. Sometimes Daniel stepped forward. Sometimes he didn't. But I no longer measured my worth by someone else's effort. For the first time in my adult life, I understood that boundaries are not punishments. They're invitations. They show people how to love you without asking you to abandon yourself. A year later, our marriage looked very different. Not perfect. Real. We made financial decisions together. We attended family events together, or not at all. If one of us wasn't included, neither of us accepted the invitation. Mutual respect slowly replaced silent assumptions, and if those changes had never happened, I finally knew I would still be okay. Because peace doesn't come from keeping everyone else happy. It comes from refusing to betray yourself. Looking back now, I don't remember the promotion dinner as the day my husband left me out. I remember it as the day I finally invited myself back into my own life. That quiet decision became the loudest answer I ever gave. If this story touched you, please comment and subscribe. I have one question for you. Have you ever stayed silent just to keep the peace? And what did it cost you? Let me know your answer below.